Is Morocco safe for solo female travelers, or that's just something people say after they survive the trip? I spent time in Agadir on my own, booked tours, walked in a city, and this is the real experience, not the Instagram version.
This is in the sink or the lack of a wink, or just because I love my life with you. Why, when you're away, do I miss you? Is it just because I can't kiss you? Is the dishes in the sink or the lack of a wink, or just because I love my life with you?
I came to Agadir in December, and this is something I really want to be honest about. Agadir is a beach city. Most of what you enjoy here is outdoors. When the weather is good, everything feels easy, but when it rains, everything changes. If you're traveling solo, rainy days can be surprisingly hard, not dangerous, just draining. You have to plan much more, you can't just wander, you can't just sit on the beach. And if you don't know anyone here, it can feel slightly isolating. Well, I've decided to go out anyway. I went for a shopping, then I stopped for Moroccan tea. It was nice for a moment, but the rain got heavier and I got completely soaked, and eventually I had to go back straight to the hotel. And that's the reality. So my first real tip is, if you can, avoid planning your first days here in the rainy season, or at least be prepared for it. Have a few indoor options ready, cafes, hammam, somewhere you can spend time without forcing yourself. Because rainy days are not about safety, they are about energy. And when you're solo, your mood matters more than you think. Agadir is still a good place in winter, just don't expect every day to be easy. One of the best decisions I made on this trip was booking organized excursions. Most of the places you're about to see I visited with local guides and small groups. As a solo woman, this changed everything. It made my trip safer, more social and much richer. So now I want to quickly show you a few of the trips I took and tell you which ones I would actually recommend if you're coming to Agadir on your own. So the first trip I really want to recommend booking is Paradise Valley. I booked it through Get Your Guide for about £30, and honestly, it was one of the highlights of my stay in Agadir. We went in a small minibus, it was probably about 8 people, so it felt personal, not crowded. So it took us about an hour drive from Agadir. We've had a local guide who was explaining everything about the area, and he guided us all the way to the Paradise Valley, which took about 30 minutes walk through the mountains. The whole excursion should take about 6 hours, but it took us a bit longer considering the area was absolutely amazing. I think I didn't complain about that. I would definitely advise you to book through some known websites like Get Your Guide or Booking.com, so you definitely know that this is legit and safe. Another activity I booked through Get Your Guide was Camel ride, and this is where I want to give you a very honest tip. It was nice, the camels were well looked after, the staff were friendly, and as a first experience it was fine. But I wouldn't book it again in Agadir. When we arrived, there was literally a long line of camels, maybe 20 in a row, all carrying tourists at the same time. It felt more like a production line than real experience. If I were to do this again, I would book a camel ride on a desert, even if it means driving for an extra hour or more from Agadir. In a desert, you get space, silence, and an open landscape. You can actually feel the experience, not just take a photo of it. So my advice is, if you really want to camel ride, save it for the desert. The next excursion I want to talk about, it was actually the most fun one I did in Agadir. Again, I booked it through Get Your Guide, paid £20, were picked up around 3 p.m. and came back late, about 10 p.m. So Really, it felt like full adventure, not just a short activity. I liked about this trip is that we had several different stops. Stopped at the village, at the local village for a juice. Then we went to the canyon, which was absolutely beautiful place to walk. Then we went to the sand dunes for sandboarding. This was actually my first time trying, and it was honestly so much fun. And this is also when I slightly regret not booking my camel ride here, because it would have been much more authentic experience. I also went for a walk through the desert along the coast with the ocean on one side and the sand on the other. The views were stunning. This was one of my favorite moments of the whole trip. Our way back, we stopped at the small village and our drivers got us bananas from local farmers. And I can't believe that the whole trip cost me only £20 for everything we did. It was incredible value for money. Now that I talked about tips outside the city and excursions, I want to give you a few tips about moving around Agadir itself as a solo woman. One place I really enjoyed visiting on my own was Agadir Medina. This is also where I decided to wear traditional Moroccan clothes, not just for fun, but for the experience. I got here using an app called InDrive. It's much cheaper than booking a taxi directly with the taxi drivers, as it gives you an option to agree on price prior to actually ordering a taxi. The entrance to Agadir Medina was only 20 dirhams. Inside, everything is calm, clean, and well organized. You can walk around freely, take photos, look at the shops, and no one pressures you. For me, Agadir Medina is a perfect place if you're traveling solo and you just want an easy, relaxed afternoon. No stress, no chaos, no pushing. One more thing I want to mention is something very simple but very important for solo travel in Agadir: long walks on the beach. When you're alone and in a new country, your head can get very busy. You plan, you think, you worry, you process everything. For me, walking along the beach was my way to rest. It's free, it's safe, it's open, and you don't have to talk to anyone. Some days I didn't want a tour, I didn't want a market, I just wanted to walk, listen to the ocean and clear my head. So this is my advice: don't try to fill every hour with activities. Leave a space for yourself. One place I was a little nervous to visit alone was Souk El Had, which translates into Sunday market. It's very busy, very local, and before going, I honestly expected pushing, shouting, and a lot of pressure. But surprisingly, my experience was very different. Yes, it is crowded, yes, it's noisy, but I never felt unsafe. I tried some juices, bought some fruits, walked around slowly, and I realized something important. Most of the stress we feel in places like this comes from our expectations, not from reality. So here is my advice for busy markets as a solo woman. Go during the day, keep your back in front of you, walk with purpose, and trust your instincts. You don't need to be scared, you just need to be aware. For me, Souk El Had was not an intimidating place. It was a place that showed me how kind and normal everyday life here actually is. And that changed my view on Morocco in a very positive way. The next place I want to talk about is the Kasbah. I went by the cable car, and that alone was really nice experience. The ticket was about 13 dirhams and it's very affordable and very easy to organize on your own. There are sunset excursions to the Kasbah on Get Your Guide, and at first I considered booking one, but at the end I decided to go alone. And I'm really glad I did. Going by myself meant I could arrive when I wanted, walk on my own pace, stay as long as I liked, and I really enjoyed sunset without rushing. This is also a very important lesson for solo travel. Not every place needs a tour. And some places are much better when you go independently. The Kasbah is very touristy, but it felt completely safe and relaxed. I walked around the area alone, took my time, enjoyed the views, and I never once felt uncomfortable. The only thing I regret is not having my drone because the views from up here were incredible. But drones are not allowed in Morocco, so that's something to know in advance. So my advice here is use tours when you need a structure and go alone when you want freedom. Always choose the option that gives you more control over your time. The last thing I want to mention is food and eating alone in Agadir. I ate in many different places, from restaurants to small local spots, and in all of them service was very kind and respectful. I never felt awkward sitting alone, no one bothered me, and actually I noticed people trying to sell things usually left me alone when I was eating. One important tip: if you are vegetarian or you have allergies, English is spoken but misunderstanding happens. I ordered soup, I thought it was vegetarian, and later I found out it was made with meat, even though I asked twice. My advice is simple: if you're unsure, just Google the dish before you order. One last thing I want to say because it matters: Agadir felt completely safe for solo female traveler. Not perfect, not problem-free, but much safer than expected. That's just my own experience. I think it's worth saying it out loud. If you have been to Morocco or you're planning your trip, please share your comments below or ask the questions. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.